Hey there, how are you doing? It's me, Jonathan Royle, hypnotist, the founder and creator of Pricknosis, the needle-free hypnotic weight loss mind jab solution. And I'm here to tell you that if you're seeking out a qualified licensed Pricknosis practitioner, that you will be in good hands, because each of them not only is an expert in the fields of hypnotherapy, NLP and cutting edge mind sciences, but also they have studied in depth the power of the placebo effect and the nocebo effect, which is something we're going to look at in this short video. So be under no illusions. If you want to gain real psychological tools to reprogram your neck-top computer so that you can suppress your appetite, feel satisfied more rapidly, be motivated to do more exercise, because ultimately to lose weight you've got to reduce your calorific intake and increase your exercise. It's as simple as that, as Bob Squart says in his wonderful 1981 book, Diets Don't Work. Anyway, take a look, learn a bit about the placebo and nocebo effect, and then seek out a licensed practitioner of Pricknosis, the needle-free hypnotic weight loss mind jab solution. This comes from part of the Lancet, the respected medical journal, and the heading is "The Placebo Rate and Nocebo Events in Obesity Pharmacological Trials, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis." The summary is that there is a growing number of trials examining the effectiveness of pharmacotherapies for obesity. However, little is known about placebo and nocebo effects in these trials. Hence, we sought to examine the effect of placebo in obesity trials to better understand the potential factors affecting clinical endpoints in them. The short interpretation is that their meta-analysis of placebo-treated participants in weight loss randomized clinical trials indicated a significant placebo and nocebo effect. These findings are important to quantify their effect and may inform the design of future randomized clinical trials. The key bit being this: implications of all the available evidence. Our study shows that the placebo effect in weight loss randomized clinical trials is significant, and clinicians should be reassured that patients undergoing these trials would experience substantial improvements in weight. In other words, they would lose weight, and often the placebo can be involved. Another interesting article, National Library of Medicine there, which is placebo effects in obesity research. Just this top bit. Research participants randomized to placebo-controlled conditions often report improved outcomes and can manifest physiologic responses that mirror those of participants who received a bioactive compound, i.e. a chemical drug. Recent studies show that placebos can have beneficial effects even when the individual is aware that he or she is receiving a placebo, suggesting that the therapeutic context in which a placebo is delivered can be powerful. This context includes environmental and psychosocial factors such as information disclosure, expectations, conditioning and empathy, embedded within research and clinical encounters that may influence outcomes. In this article, we review these placebo-related factors, consider how they may influence the results typically attributed to diet and lifestyle interventions, and offer suggestions on enhancing things in clinical obesity settings. The real key things of that report is this lovely image showing that the participant and clinician or staff interactions, e.g. attention, empathy, the time they spend, their bedside manner, as it were, with their patient, combined with information conveyed, e.g. the words that are used, the symbols, the rituals, the way it's put across, and the treatment itself, whether it's active or placebo control, it doesn't matter. All of those things combine together to have an impact on the expectation of improvement, the clinical research setting, the emotional support, the persuasive rationale, the adherence and ritual desire to improve conditioning, and that ultimately affects the outcomes. Another article from the National Library of Medicine, this one called "Studying a possible placebo effect of an imaginary low-calorie diet. The key bit being, despite some methodological biases of the study construct, in our opinion, a placebo effect could partially explain the changes in the experimental group. In other words, placebo alone can help you lose weight. Which also begs the question, are diets just placebos? I mean, after all, the idea is at least worth considering, and it would explain a lot of strange things about how dieting works. First key phrase of this article is that while all of these make impressive claims, science has shown again and again that dieting just doesn't work in the long term. Most people either don't lose the weight or see it boomerang right back. For others, the result of dieting is an eating disorder. But still, we cling to diets because we think they will work, or because often, for a short time, for some of us, for that friend of a friend, they do. But the truth is, as Bob Schwartz said in his book Diets Don't Work in 1981, and later Paul McKenna modelled the contents of that book in his I Can Make You Thin, the fact is diets don't work, and the word itself contains D-I-E, the word die. If no diet has turned out to be a silver bullet for weight loss, then what could explain why some of them at least seem to work, at least for some time? In looking at our rampant dieting culture, I realised that there are a lot of elements that remind me of the placebo effects we see in other parts of our lives, and this got me thinking. Perhaps it's not the contents of the diet that matters, perhaps it's simply the act of dieting. It's a ritual. Is it possible that rather than the specifics of the food regime you undertake, it's the mere act of starting a diet, any diet that makes you thinner? Could it be that the inherent placebo effect that comes with any diet is what's causing you to lose weight? The connection between brain chemistry, eating habits and weight is nothing new. Our decisions to eat are based on brain chemistry, and the results of these decisions tend to affect our size. We know that stress hormones generated by dieting and other forms of starvation affect how our bodies process fat. Some studies even suggest that deficiencies in certain mood-moderating brain chemicals shape which junk foods we prefer. People with low dopamine crave sweets, those lacking the neurotransmitter acetylcholine crave fat, and those without serotonin try to eat all the starch they can. So brain chemistry and the metabolism are intimately linked. But could the act of believing that what we are eating will cause weight loss actually be enough to trick our bodies into shedding pounds? It's a provocative idea, but a hard one to test. However, the long shot is that yes, more and more studies are showing it can. An example, quoting from this article, but as I said before, the best placebo studies involve a little trickery, and thank God a few scientists are willing to go there. The landmark study comes from Alia Crum at Stanford. As a grad student, Crum did an experiment where she found that just telling hotel workers how much exercise they were getting at work could have a positive effect on their health. So in 2010, she took the next logical step. She passed out 2 types of milkshake, a 620 calorie version and a 140 calorie one, complete with labels that claimed they were either indulgent or diet, to 2 separate groups. As one might expect, the people's gut chemistry behaved very differently depending on which shake they got, with their hunger hormones, which were also involved in metabolism, dropping much more with the fatty shake. Except the thing is, she lied. Both the shakes were 380 calories. In other words, their bellies responded not to what they were eating, but to what they thought they were eating. The following year, a team at Purdue told patients they had invented special solid foods that turned to liquid once in the stomach, as well as liquid foods that turned to solid. Some people got actual solids and liquids, while others received the magical stomach-changing kinds. Of course, they were actually the exact same meals and all had the same number of calories. Naturally, people could feel the non-existing transformations through pure imagination. The non-transforming liquid drinkers were all quickly hungry, while the people drinking the liquid to solid said things like, "I could barely swallow the liquid, it was so thick. I am so full I can barely finish the glass. And my favourite, it came out like a solid too." Meanwhile, the people eating the real solid could barely finish them all, while those eating the solid to liquid said, "It hardly feels like I ate anything. It feels like I drank a bunch of liquid," and it immediately went away with the cubes, or rather when the cubes turned to liquid in my stomach. The power of the mind. As I say, that's an excellent article called Are Diets Just Placebos by Eric Vance in the Medical Examiner. The milkshake experiment I just mentioned is also mentioned in this article by Dr. Sharma, The Power of Placebo in Weight Loss Trials. Placebos are powerful, even when people know they're on a placebo, and that's called an open label placebo. It's being totally truthful about the fact that it has no real chemicals in it, or it's not a real needle, or basically that you're just triggering a psychological response. This scientific fact has long been established and probably accounts for much of the hype and success stories around dietary supplements and a host of alternative medicines which often lack any demonstrable biological effect other than placebo. Although placebo-controlled trials are generally considered the highest quality evidence, it is often wrongly assumed that the placebo group is not receiving treatment, when actually it is, because placebo itself is a treatment. Thus, contrary to a common belief, taking a placebo is a form of active treatment because it's active psychologically and cannot be equated to doing nothing, which is perhaps why even study participants randomized to a placebo or control group in clinical trials often do so much better than the individuals who are not in a trial. Another National Library of Medicine publication, What Should Clinicians Tell Patients About Placebo and Nocebo Effects? Practical considerations based on expert consensus. Under results, they said there was consensus that communicating general information about placebo and nocebo effects to patients, e.g. explaining their role in treatment, could be beneficial, but that such information needs to be adjusted to match the specific clinical context, e.g. the condition and treatment. Experts also agreed that training clinicians to communicate about placebo and nocebo effects should be a regular and integrated part of medical education that makes use of multiple formats, including face-to-face and online modalities. The final article I'm going to look at is from the Journal of Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine, and it's called Expectancy, Self-Efficiency and Placebo Effect of a Sham Supplement for Weight Loss in Obese Adults. The abstract is the key here. This study examined the role of expectancy in the placebo effect of a sham dietary supplement for weight loss in 114 obese adults with metabolic syndrome. All participants received lifestyle education and were randomized to one of three conditions. Either 1, a daily placebo capsule and told that they were taking an active weight loss supplement, or 2, daily placebo and told they had a 50% random chance of receiving either the active or placebo, or 3, no capsules. At 12 weeks, weight loss and metabolic outcomes were similar among the three groups. Participants in both groups that took capsules showed decreased weight loss, self-efficiency, and increased expectations of benefit from dietary supplements. Participants not taking capsules showed the opposite. Adverse effects or events were more frequently reported in groups taking capsules than those who were not, the so-called nocebo effect. These findings suggest that supplements without weight loss effects may have nocebo effects through diminished self-efficiency. So what does this mean? Well, what it means is the nocebo effect is when something with no chemical drugs in it whatsoever, because the person believes that it's going to help them achieve X, Y, or Z, in this example, aim to suppress their appetite, help them to feel satisfied more rapidly, and ultimately to help them lose weight, that because they believe that, their mind also accepts the idea that just like a chemical drug can have side effects, that this placebo treatment, whether it's an inert tablet, a capsule that contains no drugs, a Hollywood special effects injection, it doesn't matter what, but it also means that the mind accepts the idea that side effects could occur, and therefore side effects can occur. Now, knowing this, we as hypnotists who know the power of suggestion can tell clients that they may experience some side effects, but we can tell them and guide them and make them believe what those potential side effects could be, so that they are minimal to non-existent, or even better, that the side effects are positive ones, that they feel more relaxed, that they feel more positive, that they feel happier in general, so that then if the nocebo effect kicks in, because of the way we've guided it as experienced hypnotists and masters of suggestion, it actually has a positive nocebo effect for them in conjunction with the positive placebo effect of them getting their desired outcomes. These are all things we'll talk about in more depth for those who are taking the Pricknosis needle-free, hypnotic weight loss, mind jab solution training, and for anyone seeing this who desires to lose weight, or track down a certified licensed Pricknosis practitioner, and as well as using cutting-edge hypnotherapy and NLP techniques and the various tools and resources that make up Pricknosis, the mind jab solution, they will also be using the power of the placebo and nocebo, but both of them positively, to help you rapidly achieve your desired weight.